Hello, everyone. We're back. I'm sending Russ an invitation again. That's always exciting to watch. Here we go. I'm doing that. A couple things. My son's doing great, and thanks to everybody for all the well wishes. You guys are awesome, amazing. I really appreciate it. He's doing so well that it was funny. Like today, I was out there and was upstairs doing the laundry. Life of a hockey blogger, and I turn the corner and I see this. Like this is like, he like his. Hold on, let's see if you can see this. He's like put his puppet. It's like him and two of his puppets like out, peeking around the corner. Yeah, so he's doing pretty good. He's doing great. So we're gonna get into some fun things today. Russ Cohen's gonna join us. You don't have to apologize, Siri. Also, thanks to Bill Donahue in Red Deer, Alberta, who likes our card segment so much that he sent us from his company another box of cards.
Oh no. Bill, why? Why did you
another box of cards? Because I said I was running out of the other ones. This one is, as you can see on here, factory sealed. So I'm going to break the seal here on the show with you guys today. At the end, but yeah.
That has a different terminology, though.
Yeah. We'll just leave it there.
Yeah, okay.
All right, so it's lunchtime, too. We're sorry for going a little bit early today. It is a holiday here in the United States of America. And
it's a holiday in Canada as well, but it's obviously not President's Day.
Right, what is it?
It's like Family Day.
Family Day. That's much better than President's Day.
No, it's not. Well,
Family Day is a cool concept. We don't need that. We need that in America. Why don't we, with all of our family values politicians, why don't we have a family day, Mike? Come on now.
Every day's Family Day in the United States of America.
That's true. And as proof is why we're doing the show early is because I'm coaching a futsal tournament this afternoon.
What?
Futsal. You know what futsal is?
No.
Futsal is like it's like a different kind of soccer. It's Dan would know what it is. It's like they use a smaller ball. You play on a
boat, so you know.
Yeah, Dan's on a boat. You play on a tennis court, and with a smaller soccer ball, it's heavier. It's a different kind of game, but it's really good for. It's really good for kids for skill wise because it's very hard to play it. So we play it once in a while and it really builds up the girls' skills. So we're doing that today.
Out in the snow?
No, it's indoors.
Oh,
yeah, it is snowing today.
I swear when I played like intramural sports in like grammar school, especially when I went to Catholic school for 2 years, every game was a derivative of hockey. It was like handball. Handball was 5-on-5.
Right. That's a good point.
And you threw on a goal. Indoor soccer was basically, there was offside.
Yeah, no, it's like hockey. Yeah.
Everything was derivative of hockey. No, and the thing was, we actually played hockey. And we played
hockey. Water polo.
Now, when you guys played hockey, did you have like a plastic puck?
No. Well, okay. When we played intramural hockey, like on the basketball court in gym, we played with the Milek orange ball.
Okay.
It wasn't the softer one; it was the hard shelled one.
The kind that would, when it got really cold, would just break in half if you hit it.
Yeah, right, exactly. And
puck. We actually did you guys have to wear masks or no for the goalie?
No.
Yeah. It's true. We had no masks either.
No. Back then, I know no one cared. It was so funny.
No one cared.
Can't imagine like now. Now you know what the kids do? They play with a foam hockey stick and a big puff ball.
Yeah.
And because they can't play real hockey, and I mean it's just like someone will get hurt, someone will get killed.
But the thing was, we figured out and we all learned how to do really good wrist shots, right? And it would just really like clank off the back of the stanchions, the stands that they would use as the goal. They would tape it off.
Yeah.
And if the goalie was if he was tough, he would stay in there. If not, he'd move away.
Russ, when I played floor hockey, or like in fifth or sixth grade, we had like this assembly where the two winningest teams would play off in like the Stanley Cup final type of thing. And of course, I wanted to make an impression, so I just started doing my best Jim Schoenfeld imitation. I was playing defense, and I slid in front of every shot I possibly could. I blocked everything to the point that I slid and went through the gym doors. And I slid. I overdid my landing and went right through the gym doors.
That is amazing. So the actual Hockey Buzz itself might not exist in its way it is now had it not been for intramural hockey as a kid, because that's where I met Captain EO, by the way. Because we had a team at Bret Hart Elementary School in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, where I went, and we had a team that was just, we're dominant. We would, if another team was good, we would just take their best players, and that would be it. And we'd still kill everybody. And then Eric had a team.
You would buy them because you were in Cherry?
We would just invite them to the team. We just invite them to the team. We're like, come on, you guys. And they're like, yeah, we beat you, so you're pretty good. So come to our team. So we would just, all the other kids in the neighborhood actually played against my wife back then too. She was on one of the teams, like one of the only girls that played hockey back then. But then, so then we went to Barclay School, which is where Captain EO went, and they had a really good team, and they beat us, and that was like a huge thing. Like, it was our parents driving us to another school to play. Somebody knew somebody through church or whatever, and that was like that's how we met. It's pretty funny. So we ended up so street hockey was a major thing for us growing up.
Yeah, we played it, and when it snowed out and it plowed, we loved it because then there was an ice layer on the street.
Yeah, and you had boards.
Yeah, we played for keeps, man. We
did too.
And we played block against block. We did the same thing you did, and so we would be out there for hours and hours.
Oh yeah.
We played a 3-on-3 tournament. The kids in the neighborhood, and we played with a tennis ball, because playing with the puck or playing with the plastic ball. First of all, the plastic ball in cold winter temperatures, if there's any bare part of your arms or
it would kill you.
It killed.
I was a goalie, and I remember one.
That's what we played. We played with a puck. You play with a puck, man.
No. We played on a street that had like the sort of the depressions for the on the sides of the road for like drainage.
The gutters, you'd lose the ball all the time. Yeah, we'd have to cover the gutters. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We had to play with the tennis ball, but the thing was that, like, I played goal most of the time because I loved being a goalie, and
you have a goalie build. You do.
Thank you very much. And I didn't like wearing the mask. I mean, I read a book about hockey goaltenders and Glenn Hall and Terry Sawchuk, and I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna wear a mask.
Right.
And I never did.
I was opposite, man. I was totally. I was all about the mask. I wanted a Bernie Pront mask in the worst way.
I had this old Cesar Maniago mask, the one that was basically the cutout of the face.
Yeah, that were the Milac masks. I remember them. They were like
the Milac was the Tony Esposito.
They were the Tony Esposito mask, right? And the Gary Cheevers type mask.
This one was more square, sort of like Kurt Ridley and Cesar Maniago. Well, anyway,
first hockey jersey you ever owned? What was the first hockey jersey you ever owned? You remember? Because you played with it all the time when I was a kid. I played with mine.
I did. I wore the Rangers crest from like the odd one from '78 or it was '78. Okay. The only year they wore it until they brought it back.
Right.
The crest.
Yeah, so I wore it with the crest, and I don't think I put a name on it. It was hard enough back then just to get my mother to actually get a jersey.
Oh yeah, getting jerseys.
Get a real jersey.
The United States in the '70s and '80s was really hard to find.
The first jersey I ever bought was when I was 18 years old. I got a Wendell Clark jersey.
There you go. The one I had was I made a Gilles Gilbert jersey, a Boston Bruins Gilles Gilbert jersey. So I had a white T-shirt that I basically painted the Bruins thing on and put a 1 and Gilbert on the back of it. And I made this out of like a big old T-shirt, and that's what I wore forever.
To your point about
get him on the show, I ran into him a couple.
Really? That's so funny.
Last year, and he works for a hockey charity. Yeah.
I'd love to talk to him.
To your point, I had a tough time getting jerseys, even in Buffalo, a border city. I mean, the ones I hopped the border over to Fort Erie, and a former NHLer had a pro shop. Tom Reed used to play for Minnesota back in the early '70s. He had a pro shop in Fort Erie, and I bought my Wendell Clark jersey. And fast forward to like 2006 or 2005, Wendell Clark signed that jersey for me. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, now I just need to get that thing framed. But
what was the place up in the Buffalo, Niagara area that always advertised in the back of the Hockey News where you got all the jerseys? There was like a place.
Was it Laux Sporting Goods?
What was it called?
Laux, Laux.
I don't think that was it. There was a place, or it may have been in Montreal, or it was towards. There was this really there was a place. It was the back of the Hockey News. It was like that, and every year we would drive to Canada and we would stop at this place. I could have sworn it was. And that was that was the place, that was the thing to get.
But I remember what you're talking about. There was
there was like one place that advertised always they had like the back page of the Hockey News. Sure, if I could find one around here. But that was incredible. Like to go to a hockey store, we had one called the Hockey Den in Cherry Hill. Do you remember the Hockey Den, Russ?
I've heard of it even when I moved here. It was around.
Yeah, it was around. You know, it stayed around till I would say about maybe 10 years ago. It was
Right.
maybe 20 years ago. Maybe
Yep.
I don't know, losing track of time. All right, let's move on. Let's move on with the show.
Sorry, guys.
We're gonna start. We're gonna go into that Larry Brooks article, which I have not heard about yet or read about. So, Mike, have you read it, Russ?
I have not. I don't know.
So Mike's gonna explain what's going on with this.
Okay. Well, Larry. Oh, first.
Wait, we'll start the show first. It's the 15th, right? Hello, Hockey World. It's Monday, February 15th, 2016.
I'm Michael Agello.
I'm Russ Cohen from Sportsology.
And I'm Eklund, and you're watching the HockeyBuzzCast on HockeyBuzz.com with 2 weeks to go till the trade deadline. And we're all in a good mood here. We're happy. Trade deadline time is a fun time around my house. Fortunately, everybody's healthy now, and I can start ignoring them again. My family can be ignored again for the next 2 weeks while I work on the trade deadline. But yeah, so it's good. So but yeah, it's time to get going. And first off, so are you talking about the Stamkos Larry Brooks article?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, I did see. As I'm saying this, Mike, it's just starting to occur to me. Mike, explain to them the article that you're speaking of that we're going to discuss to start the show here.
Okay. Well, Larry Brooks took the same tack as Darren Drager from TSN, saying that where the Leafs are right now in their rebuild this summer, that he thinks it's doubtful that Steven Stamkos would want to go to Toronto because there's not a lot of talent there yet, and that the Leafs wouldn't want to sign him, or it wouldn't be beneficial to sign him because, then with him they would improve enough that it would lower their draft picks the next couple years. But what would be a good fit, according to Brooks, would be John Tavares, who is a free agent at the end of the 2017-18 season and is underpaid at $5.5 million. And the Islanders are having their ownership transition and the transition from Long Island to Brooklyn. I mean, I understand where Brooks is coming from, but to say that Tavares would be a better chance or a more, I just think is ridiculous. I can't emphasize enough that the opportunity. First of all, the Islanders are going to spend every dollar they possibly can to keep John Tavares in New York. The situation with Stamkos in Tampa Bay is an opportunity that comes once in a generation. He's a 26-year-old player, early in the prime of his career. He's a star player, and he's from the Toronto area. I mean, if he doesn't want to sign there, he doesn't want to sign there. There's nothing that the Leafs can do, but the Leafs have to go all out to try to get him, because I think, not only for the organization, for the fan base, but for the fact that their ratings are down 20% this year, and they need a star player to build around. Mike Babcock will be in an insane asylum in 2 years if they waited to sign John Tavares, and then Tavares decided to stay in Brooklyn. It's not feasible. It's not thought out at all.
Russ? Russ is obviously just completely dumbfounded, is frozen solid by this comment.
He agrees with me wholeheartedly.
No, yeah, we'll try this. Hopefully no ill will is befallen Russ. But we'll get back to him in a second. Yeah, it's a weird one. I mean, it sounds like a. I don't want to say link bait. No, but I'm sorry. No, I'm just saying this is definitely. It doesn't make sense on so many levels. First of all, the whole concept that Stamkos. Hey, Russ.
Hey, I'm back.
Good. Did you hear the gist of the story before you got cut off there?
I did.
Okay. So I was starting saying I think that the whole concept that Stamkos won't sign in Toronto because they're not a contender right now, I think is baloney. I really, because first of all, we've seen in the NHL how quickly that can turn. It's not like you need 10 years to rebuild a team. Right. They have Babcock in place, who's a great coach. They have the right pieces in place. They have already great prospects that aren't playing on the team. They're going to get another round of great prospects this year in the draft. Maybe even Austin Matthews. So it's crazy to think that Stamkos isn't going to go there for that reason. I mean, I think there's other reasons you can bring up why Stamkos wouldn't go there, perhaps, but I don't think to sit there and say he's not going to go there because they're not a contender or possibly win a Stanley Cup, I just don't buy. And then the idea of trading Tavares, I think is absurd for the Islanders. I just think that he seems to be very entrenched in that. Russ, you agree with that? Oh no, man. Russ is in bad internet world today. Russ will have to restart his modem. You text him to restart his modem, perhaps.
I'll do it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think that.
Let's first of all let's say this. They're not talking about trading Tavares. They're talking about waiting 2 years to sign him in the summer of 2018, when Tavares would be 27 years old. Not to say that 27 years old is past your prime, because it's not. But it's just the fact that there is no. First of all, there's no guarantee that Stamkos is going to come to Toronto. None. I mean, but that's where and I say this before I'll say this before I make my statement. I respect the hell out of Bob McKenzie and Darren Drager and Larry Brooks and all these, everybody who's spouting their opinion about the Stamkos situation. But it's clear to me from what most of these insiders are saying is they have no idea what's going to happen. And even McKenzie and even Drager have said they don't know what's happening here.
They are stuck, and I know they would be the first to admit this. I will admit it frankly, because I don't work for a network. I don't have to talk. I can talk about trades when they're happening. That helps our website, but I don't just talk because of the hell. As you guys know, I don't talk rumors unless there's something legitimate to talk about. But the fact of the matter is here that there come situations in hockey like this one where really, unless you are Steven Stamkos' brain, you don't know what the hell's going on. Okay,
right.
And that really is what it comes down to. And you can sit there and you can say this is possible or that's possible or this is possible or that's and and all those things are true, and you can draw out all the conclusions that Steven, but you're not Steven Stamkos' brain. So if you're not Steven Stamkos' brain, no one has the inside track. There is no insider on Steven Stamkos. I will tell you that right now. There isn't. And if there was, Yzerman would love to meet him because Yzerman is in the same boat. All right, he's as close as you can get to the situation. He's actually offering the contracts, and he doesn't know what Steven Stamkos is thinking. And so all we can do is sit there and do what you do, which is just prognosticate, say this looks possible or that looks possible. But I don't think, or you can go in history like we've done. Like Stamkos likes being in a small market. We know that. He's enjoying that. He does want to stay in Tampa. It seems like they're not far enough away in Tampa for me to think that this is not going to get done. Like it feels to me, my instincts are this will get done. But
yeah, I see. I don't know about that. All I know is that you hear input from different sources, and then you have to reevaluate the situation, but you don't know whether that information is correct or not. I heard on Hockey Night in Canada that said, well, Stamkos wants to play in a big market, or Stamkos
there are no sources on Stamkos. This is the crazy thing. There are no sources on Stamkos. This is a player. This is a player who doesn't. There are players out there who talk to people. This is a player who doesn't talk to people.
Right.
Stamkos is not. He's a private guy. No one's got the inside track on Stamkos.
And he's represented by an agency that is the tightest in terms of keeping information out.
Oh yeah.
Than anybody. Newport keeps their secrets. So
even that they can be hacked, sort of. Not hacked, but you know what I'm saying. They can. Newport's been known to give away stuff, but when they do so, it's agenda driven. Like they want information out there for a reason. They want this. If this, I think the first contract offer to Stamkos was a situation like that. Okay, it's coming out of Newport. I think that came out of Newport. I do. That Stamkos got this first contract offer, which was ridiculously low. That there's an agenda to releasing that information, but it has nothing to do with Stamkos. It has nothing to do with what he's thinking or what he's feeling or what he's acting on. We just won't know. We've seen this before. This is not like Brad Richards, who was going out and telling people he really wanted to play in New York, or this is there's certain situations where we've seen other, like Vanek wanted to play in Minnesota. There's people that in the past we've heard there's enough people who know Thomas Vanek will say, yeah, I'd love to play for the Wild, or Brad Richards, I wouldn't want to play for the Rangers. It's not that situation. This is first of all, it's Tampa. Tampa doesn't have any they've got some. Erlinson, got some good reporters down there, but they're not talking about guys who are still the inner circle of Steven Stamkos. Perhaps the closest person, honestly, to Steven Stamkos that I know of that really does know Steven Stamkos is Mike Babcock. So if you want to make some sort of connection there, Babcock and Stamkos do talk to each other, and I know this for a fact. And there is a connection there. So, but that doesn't mean that Babcock's going to be able to convince him to come to Toronto. I think part of getting Babcock definitely helped by 100% the chances of getting Stamkos in the future.
There's a lot of circumstantial evidence regarding Stamkos in Toronto. And I'm not going to go through it all because we've gone through it before. But the things that have come out, like just this weekend, after there was an article in the Tampa Bay Times, Joe Smith, I believe, was the author, talking about Stamkos and the situation. Just a report came out about Evander Kane being suspended by the Buffalo Sabres for oversleeping and missing a team function.
Oh man. That's why Dan Pitcher's not here today. He's suspended by us for oversleeping. And
so this is the reason that Evander Kane hasn't scored 50 goals for us, because he overslept, because now he's been suspended by the Sabres.
Yeah, look, I'm tired of this guy. I am. He has a lot of talent. He's got a 10-cent head. And I'm telling you, if I'm the Sabres, I try and trade him because he's not part of my future. I don't even want him playing with a lot of these young players because it's not like he's a bad guy. He's just not a mature guy. That's the problem.
You can see those young players are stepping up recently. I mean, yesterday, Ryan O'Reilly has been consistent throughout the season. Sam Reinhart scored a goal. Eichel scored. I think they both scored their 17th goals of the year. So Reinhardt's having a really good rookie year. So obviously is Eichel. Robin Lehner has played well since coming back from injury. They beat Colorado yesterday. I think they've won 3 of their last 4 games. They had lost 2 of their last 3. Excuse me. They had lost 4 games in a row. Now they've won 2 of their last 3. The Sabres have that young core group. Toronto does not right now, and that was, I think, the reason why. And even Bob McKenzie said after the fact that his speculation regarding Buffalo and Stamkos was just sort of theory, not based on any fact. And that's fine. And I see what he's thinking, because Buffalo's got a lot of cap room, and they need that establishment type of player. But the thing is that being further along in the rebuild means you're closer to having to pay Ristolainen, Eichel, Reinhart big money. They're going to have to pay Ristolainen big money this summer, Eichel and Reinhart 2 years from now. So I just can't imagine them paying $11.5 million to Stamkos when they're paying $7.5 million to O'Reilly and probably having to pay close to that to Eichel and maybe Reinhart as well.
Yeah, I think about oversleeping. I want to sort of let people know about this too, because that's a good generic PR term for other things that could be going on.
That's a good point.
I'll give you a good example. Like the Phillies, when they lived in my hotel that I worked at, they used to have a player, the Phillies, Kim Batiste. Maybe Eckler remembers him. He did well in the playoffs. You remember him? Okay. He once said he overslept it was either a late season game or an early playoff game, and he blamed the hotel. Well, I was the hotel. And we gave him his wake-up call multiple times.
Well, the funny thing here is Buffalo played Colorado yesterday. It was a noon start, so you can't say that it was because it was a 7:00 game, and they got out of the arena late and whatever. And it was and today was a holiday, so I'm sure that there was a potential for extracurricular activities that I won't go further into because I can't verify them, but. This is not good. This is what happened to Nazem Kadri in Toronto last year. I mean, it was a Saturday. I think it was a Saturday night game. They had a Sunday morning practice, and he was late. And he was late a number of times, and they then suspended him for, I think the term they used was conduct detrimental to the team or a disciplinary thing. But this is not good. This is not a guy who's 19 and just his first year in the league. This is a guy who's 24, 25 years old and making $5.25 million.
Right.
If you're late for a day game, you're not all in to me, and that's the problem I have with him.
Yeah. No, I mean, and Evander Kane as a player, like you said, his best year 30 was a 30-goal season, right? Yeah. In his first as a Jet. I mean, the most points he's had in his career as a pro, as an NHL player, is 57. I mean, he's a good player. 30-goal scorers don't just grow on trees, but he's only got 30 once, And
the Tampa Bay Lightning have issued a statement. General Manager Steve Yzerman says in the statement that Steven Stamkos will not be dealt before the February 29th trade deadline. So that puts that
before the deadline.
Before the deadline, yeah.
That means he won't be traded on the deadline.
No.
Now listen, wait a minute.
No, Russ is unfortunately right. I mean, but I think.
Oh, come on. Let's not parse this like it's the Supreme Court.
Wait a minute. It's English.
It's GM talk, actually, is what it is.
GM talk, and it's English.
But I think he's implying.
I think it's a safe bet too. But I'm just saying there is room for interpretation there too.
Yes, but I'm saying they're not going to trade him in season. They're going to stick with him throughout the year. That may also mean.
Here's the funny thing. That's what most of us felt all along. Because of the situation that they were in.
I thought it was absurd to think he was going to get traded before the deadline.
Right.
Okay, here's the statement. It's brief, and let me read it. As February 29th approaches, I am stating today that Steven Stamkos will not be traded before the NHL's trade deadline. I have said repeatedly that it is our hope to reach an agreement with Steven on a new contract at some point, and with 27 games remaining in the season, our entire organization, Steven included, wants to focus on making the playoffs. I will keep the negotiating process strictly between the involved parties and will have no further comment on the state of the negotiations, which means probably that
no
may be
deal. That's a no deal. That's
a no deal. That also means that I bet Steven Stamkos would not have waived the no move clause.
Right.
And I seriously doubt, and this is my opinion, so I'll take the slings and arrows. I sincerely doubt that getting this close. It's February 15th right now. Getting this close to unrestricted free agency, that Steven Stamkos is going to sign an extension before July 1st. He's going to see what the market will offer him. It does not preclude him going back to Tampa Bay. He will let the market give him an opportunity, or he will give the market an opportunity to make an offer, and then if he decides to go back to Tampa, he decides to go back to Tampa. But why would you not let the market?
I have a question about this. Okay.
Yeah, I have a big question about this too.
This is my question about this, and this is a little just. I gotta find out from a team because we said the other day. Remember, I said something like the 8-year thing, which is if you sign with a current team, you can stay for 8 years. That's a big deal, right?
Yes.
If you become a free agent, and are you technically still able to sign with the team you left from for 8 years?
I don't think so. I think once you leave, that's it.
No, that's why.
That's why this could. That's why I don't think.
That's it.
Right. That's why.
Does that team still maintain a possibility of bringing? That's what I'm a little confused about. I got to find out.
Once July 1st hits, that's it.
Right. That's why what will happen. That 5-day window, the negotiating window, is when he'll probably get signed, because then he can either be signed and get the 8-year deal from Tampa, or traded and get the 7-year deal from somebody else and Tampa gets something, or signed by Tampa and traded and he gets the 8-year deal.
Yeah, that's what I think is more likely.
Yeah,
I think he'll get 8 years. I think he's going to get 8 years from somebody.
Yeah.
Because he's going to be owned by them at some point. Before the deal.
A sign and trade is a very distinct possibility, but the question I have is, and this is, Russ, tell me if I'm wrong here, but from what I understand from a lot of these contractual no-trade, no-move clauses and contracts, like, for example, Milan Michalek was traded in the deal with Dion Phaneuf. He had to waive his no-trade clause to go to Toronto. Now he has no-trade clause. Once he waives it, the team that gets him, there's nothing stopping them from trading him again. So does that mean that if Steven Stamkos signs an 8-year deal with Tampa and then agrees to waive it to go to this next team?
Then he would be agreeing to waive it because he would be. It would actually be. It actually wouldn't even be that. What it would be is he's not going to. It would probably be in that 5-day period he would negotiate another 8-year deal with somebody and then just be traded. More than it would be him signing and trading it, because the sign and trade only exists for. The sign and trade really is kind of moot in that 5-day period.
Well, but he can't get an 8-year deal from somebody else.
No, but he can negotiate an 8-year deal, and then Tampa can trade him to that team.
Yeah, but then he does lose the no trade. Mike is right.
Well, if he signed,
no.
If he signed the deal with Tampa,
no, because he signs a deal. No, listen, let's play Toronto. Okay, so Toronto wants to bring him on. They talk to Tampa. Tampa's like, we can't sign him. Go ahead, you talk to him. You can negotiate an 8-year deal. If you get an 8-year deal done, we will trade you his rights at that point.
All right, so they're still just trading rights. That's fine. Yeah.
Right, they're trading rights. So that's how, because that's the one last play that Tampa has, is they can get something for being able to trade the rights so that someone can get 8 years or whatever.
Right.
But if say for example, March the 15th, Stamkos signs an 8-year extension with Tampa Bay. and then in late June decides, okay, we locked him up. Now we can get more value for him because he's locked up. So we can trade him now, and maybe he's amenable to that.
Right.
He has to wait. He has to waive the no move and the no trade on the existing deal. But the thing is that once he does that, wherever he goes, he's got no protection, no move, no trade. That's why the most likely scenario here is his negotiating rights will be traded during the window. The team that's trading for him, in this case, we'll say Toronto, probably will have to trade more than a normal team would trade for negotiating rights. It's not going to be a 6th-round pick like Carl Soderberg. It's probably going to be players and picks.
Right.
And I don't think that would be a problem for Toronto because then, they can clear players that maybe they want to get rid of, like a Nazem Kadri or Tyler Bozak or whatever. I mean, who knows? But I think that won't be a problem. That won't be an impediment to a deal. But I think that's what's going to happen.
Here's something else I wanted to mention to you guys too, because we think sometimes things are cliche, and then I find that sometimes the cliche is real. So let's just say, for instance, with Vesey, right, with Jimmy Vesey.
Right.
Yep.
I really do believe, after speaking to a parent of a kid who's about, who could turn pro next year, that Nashville doesn't know what Vesey wants to do, and Vesey doesn't know. Because I was just told by this player's parents that they don't even tell him or her what they're going to do. Like, the parents have no idea what the kid's going to do. And they want to get
that's kind of rare, but I think that could happen. I mean, depends on the relationship you have with your parents, right? But
I mean, it's a hockey player. It trumps being a parent. It's like
still a kid, Russ. I mean, I don't know.
No, but that's what I'm saying. With these guys that are in college, they do literally want to get through the season before they think about anything else. I do think that's real. I do.
Sure. Yeah. But if he decides to, like, okay, I'm not going to sign with Nashville for the playoff run, he leaves his options open. It doesn't preclude him from not signing with Nashville.
Sure.
But it gives him the option to be a free agent and go wherever he wants to go. So, I mean, I don't think Jimmy Vesey is going to be rushed into a decision just because Nashville wants to get him into their playoff roster. That's why I think he'll leave it open and, again, go towards. And the thing is, once that happens, once Nashville sees that if he decides not to sign with them, then the warning bells for David Poile have to go off.
Oh, yeah.
And then you're talking about, there's no guarantee he's going to sign. We're going to lose this guy for nothing. And then it's a situation like a Mike Riley or a Kevin Hayes or a Zach Hyman with the Maple Leafs, where you maybe trade his rights and get something for him that is tangible. At least you don't lose him for nothing.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I think so. Let's get into some other rumors besides the all of the fun of sign and trades. All right, so Jonathan Drouin, I'm going to go – I updated 22 players yesterday on the Hockey Buzz rumor chart, which is a ton. Like, I have been very negligent in it lately because of what's happening with my son here, but he's good and I'm ready and I'm back and, I've really gotten to update things. So 22 players. I'm going to bring some of it up because I really, you guys have been so patient with me. Here we go. So let's bring it up here. Here we go. So this is to start with here. Where is it? Here we go. That's not it. All right, I'll bring it up in a second. But let's start with Jonathan Drouin, okay, and talk about him. I've heard more and more that he is going to be traded by the deadline, okay? He wasn't in the statement, and we all thought that this was not, I kind of was leaning towards it not happening because Eisman had no reason to really make it happen. It sounds more and more like maybe he's going to make it happen because, I can't imagine Alan Walsh is not being as annoying as all get out about this thing, and I can't imagine that it's not, really just Eisman is just, he's never going to play for us again, so if we get a half-decent offer, let's make it happen, right? But the team to watch in this, honestly, is Winnipeg. And it hasn't really been reported anywhere, I don't think, besides myself, that I've seen that Winnipeg's the team to watch, but I've talked to enough people to really believe that the Jets are a big player in the Jonathan Drouin sweepstakes. They are, they have... Go ahead.
They
Mike?
have players similar to him. Like, what is the advantage for them?
Well, I think the advantage for them, Russ, and I know that you would not like this deal from the Winnipeg point of view, but after paying Byfuglien 7-6, and after maybe finding out what the contract demands are from Jacob Trouba, a deal surrounding Drouin and Trouba makes sense for both teams.
Well, I don't know if it makes sense for Tampa because Tampa's still in like limbo as to who they can sign and can't, and now you've just added another contract that has to get.
Well, first of all, you're talking about the money that's leaving with Braden Coburn basically being assigned to Trouba. So, and I'm going on the assumption, and maybe this is a wrong assumption, but I'm going on under the assumption that Stamkos will not be back. If they have to sign Hedman, they have to sign. If they made a trade and got Trouba, they'd have to sign Trouba. But Trouba is a building block on defense, and I think they would have to improve their blue line significantly if Stamkos left. So, in that instance, I think it makes sense. Plus, trading Drouin to a non-playoff team adds up if he's going to be moved before the deadline because he's been out of action for almost coming on a month now. And if that's the case, he's not going to be anywhere. I don't know about game shape, but he's not going to be sharp. He's going to be rusty coming back.
So here's the thing, though. Long term for Winnipeg, Josh Morrissey aside, any free agent defenseman aside, they're killing their playoff chances for another year the minute Trouba gets traded. Because Buffalo's already there and they're not making the playoffs. It's not like Buffalo's adding something to the team. Now you're subtracting something that team is not the strongest in anyhow.
Yeah.
Their defense is good. It's not fantastic.
But I've heard Trouba's name mentioned, like you're saying, Mike, in this, so I can't say it's not impossible, but I do think that at the same time, it really sounds like Trouba for Travis Hamonic is going to happen. That really seems like
that makes more sense because
and I know it does make. It feels both teams still get to move forward with what they need.
Right.
Peter Tessier on Friday said the exact same thing. He says there's cost certainty and long-term cost certainty with Hamonic. His contract is under $4 million, and I think for another 4 or 5 years. Whereas Trouba is, if the speculation is right that he's looking for over maybe $6.5 million on a long-term deal out of his entry level. I'm not sure if Winnipeg wants to pay that. Maybe the Islanders will, but the Islanders has always been very fiscally restrained. So I don't know if that works.
I think some of the fiscal restraints are going to be lifted in Brooklyn this offseason, but they're already paying a lot to their blue line. They are. With Boychuk and Leddy, that's a lot of money already.
Yeah, and one of the reasons they're hesitant about trading Hamonic is because that contract is just so. He's been their best.
That's what makes him more valuable. That's what makes this trade possible because Trouba for Hamonic. I actually think Trouba's a better player than Hamonic, but the Hamonic contract is so good, like you say, Mike, that this becomes a legitimate. And especially in light of what they just gave Bufflin, this makes Hamonic really, really a good.
Yeah, but are the Islanders really going to pay him $6.5? That's a big question mark.
It is, but I've heard that Garth Snow just absolutely loves him. That this trade could have happened before, and the only reason it didn't happen before was at that point in time they thought they were keeping Trouba and they were moving out Bufflin. So that's changed. I've also heard there's other stuff with Trouba, and I'm not going to spread gossip, but there's other stuff there, and that this is the right time, perhaps, to move him out. And don't be surprised if you don't hear at some point that he's another guy who may have requested a trade at some point that we don't know about.
Okay.
I've heard that too, and I'm not saying that I have that on 100% authority, but I've had it on enough people that if it's not the case, there's stuff there for sure. But let's move on to the next guy here, who would be Keith.
Hey, wait, could I answer the Tavares thing because I got knocked off?
Oh, please, please do. Thanks.
Here's the thing about Tavares leaving. I don't believe it for a minute. I think Brooks was really just sort of trolling the Islanders, and I hate to say it that way, but he's done that in his career.
Yeah.
And I think he was trolling the Islanders and Islander fans with that. I really do.
I called it link bait, Russ, and I hate to use that term, but it's link
true.
Bait. Yeah, it's link bait. It's if his name is meant, if Brooks writes this article, I can only fathom the amount of page views it gets, and I hate to do that.
Right.
I'm not saying that. I don't really think Brooks is. I really actually do respect him, Larry Brooks, a lot.
I do too.
But still.
But he is definitely giving it to the Islander fans and preying on their worst fears in that one. And And John Tavares has really given no indication at any point in his career that he is unhappy where he is and doesn't love his teammates, because he does.
Right. And in a completely unconvincing argument regarding the Toronto perspective, because, like I said, 2 years down the road, what if they strike out on Tavares? Then then all they're left with is, empty hands and lots of millions of dollars to spend on nobody. Yeah, that's why I think you have to go all out for Stamkos, because it's an opportunity. If he hits the market or if he's there, they have to go after him. Doesn't guarantee that
the Islanders have to go all out for Tavares, which I believe they will.
Exactly.
And Tavares has really cemented himself into that. He's Mike Bossy. He's Chache.
He wants to be that guy. Like, I've spoken to him so many times, and most recently before the move, and then of course in season this year. But before that move, that was his opportunity. That if he didn't really want to be there, that would have been his time to sort of say, "Yeah, I don't really like this move." But he is not.
Right. Yeah, he signed a very team friendly deal. I mean, he did $5.5 million. I mean, heck, guys like Joffrey Lupul and the recently suspended Evander Kane are making $250,000 less than John Tavares.
Yeah,
so true.
He'll get his money.
Yes. Oh, he will get his money, and the Islanders want to give him his money. It's not an issue. I mean, he's been a great soldier for them. He's such a class individual. He's the perfect Islander in so many ways. There couldn't have been maybe not a team that could have drafted him that would have been a better fit for him in some ways.
Trust me, they're still in New York, and they still want to sell out the Barclays Center, and they still need a guy like Tavares to do it.
Yeah. So let's do a quick hit rumor chart. Okay, here we go. Okay. We're going to do this is my present for all your patience. All right. Quick hit rumor chart. Keith Yandel. Okay, so the Kings kicking up steam. Very much so. That's the place. I know Dallas Stars have talked to him. As I say later down here, if you go to Roman Polak down here, I think that's the Stars' choice. I think that's where they're going to go with that.
Well, it's interesting, Eck, because Kyle Dubas, the Leafs assistant general manager, made a swing through California this weekend. He went to San Jose. I think it was Thursday night. He took in the Kings AHL game on Friday night. So I think Polak is sort of the plan B for LA, for San Jose, and for Dallas if they strike out on Yandel.
And but he's the price that I've been told is so much less for than Yandel that this enables Dallas to do something else as well, as what I was told. So, and Dallas has a couple things they want to do. So this is not, other players on this list. I know hopefully you have a big enough computer where you can see this. It's probably very small. Radim Verbata. Yeah. This is where the Canadians could turn. I've been told many times. This is. Go ahead, Mike.
And any pretense of Vancouver being in the playoff race ended this weekend, not only because they lost to Toronto, but they lost Alex Edler probably for the season with a broken fibula, lost Brandon Sutter to a broken jaw, and there's no guarantee that Dan Hamhuis is going to waive his no-trade clause. So if he doesn't, if he wants to stay there, and block the Canucks from trading him, then they're definitely going to move Verbata.
Yeah, and Detroit is another possibility for Verbata as well. Keep an eye on that for sure. Stamkos, like I've said before, now I can probably take him off this list altogether, but because the announcement came out that they're not going to trade him prior to the deadline, although, like Russ said, that doesn't mean anything. But it does. It does mean something. What it means is they want no more stories written about this.
Right.
But still, that does, again.
Now, when he went to the bottom part, the first part of the statement left room for interpretation. The bottom part of the statement didn't. So I believe him.
Okay, so Eric Stahl. The Islanders have been a team I've heard with Eric Stahl all along, and it's gotten more and more intense there. The Canadians as well with Eric Stahl. It looks like the Penguins are fading off of Eric Stahl. So there was a point at which the Penguins definitely were interested, but
Penguins to me never.
The Penguins are in cap hell in more ways than one. So. They really want to add defense if they can. Shattenkirk, looking more and more like he's going to stay in St. Louis, as you can see on here. That number was 20% a couple weeks ago. Now it's 40%.
The injury to Alex Pietrangelo, I think, ended any chance of them trading Shattenkirk. I mean, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen during the summer.
Yep.
Definitely a possibility at the draft. I still think if Drouin's still around, that Drouin for Shattenkirk could happen at the draft.
Yeah.
But not now. James Reimer. This is an interesting one because we talked about him a lot. There are some people that I talk to now that are saying that this might be Babcock's coach. Like he might actually look at this as this is the guy I want to run with.
It's possible.
You know,
it's possible, and I'm not saying it's not possible. But the thing is, with the goaltending market out there, the Leafs could probably do what they did with Daniel Winnick last year, which means trade Reimer at the deadline. And sign him in the
goaltending market is not as strong as you think. I don't think. I mean, the goaltending market is not.
The goaltending market's that strong, and
no. That's
this guy. They're going to keep him.
There are not that many teams that are looking for goaltenders. That's my point.
Okay.
If they traded him to Calgary, Calgary might re-sign him to a long-term deal.
All right, let me ask you this, Mike. Let me ask you this.
Yep.
If Babcock says I want to keep James Reimer, do you really think anybody in the organization is going to say we can't? We're going to trade him? Sorry.
No, I think then they'll keep him, but then I think they'll trade Jonathan Bernier. I think one of the goaltenders is being moved.
No, I do think one of the. I think Bernier is more likely.
One will move, yeah.
I think Bernier is more likely. Babcock has. Remember the kind of goalies that Babcock had in Detroit. You know, like Reimer is not that dissimilar to like an Osgood to me. Like and perhaps better than Osgood, but I think that the good thing about Reimer that I've heard at least, and you can vouch this better than I can, because I don't watch them play every game. That Reimer doesn't give up a whole bunch of bad goals. That he is more or less.
He's gotten better this year. He's up until maybe the last couple years, his rebound control was hideous. It's gotten better. He's improved with this new technique. Keeping his head trajectory up. All it's I guess
with the puck tracking and the head trajectory. Yeah, that's
puck tracking. Yes,
that's really helped him this year in terms of downs and.
I had known to track the puck when I was a goalie.
It's a big deal now. I did a whole segment on our XM show about it.
I heard it, Russ, and that's why I bring it up. It's like gosh, all these terms are awesome new terms, but it sounds like, oh yeah, wait, if I had watched the puck, I would have stopped more saves. Yeah, that's definitely better the case for sure. Let's move on for a second because we're going to power through this real fast. I'm going to go to Parento, who is another guy who's going to get moved for sure. And as much as the Flyers had a really dismal weekend for them, that really kind of almost all but knocked them out of spots.
Yeah.
They're out. No, they're out.
I'm not ready to say that, Russ, and that's not as a fan. I just think that the team is. I think that the schedule is so weak the rest of this month that they still could make, if they could put 5 or 6 games together, and when you look at the schedule, they actually can.
Well, and I would look at Anaheim here, Eck, because two Leaf scouts were at the Anaheim-Columbus game late last week. Anaheim loses Chris Stewart to an injury. It's a long-term injury. It's not a short-term thing. So the cheap salary of Parento and the fact that he's scored some goals for them, I think that's a matchup that works.
Going down to Andrew Ladd. And we'll stop there. We'll do Kadri and Ladd. We'll do Ladd and Kadri. Ladd is this is when I talk about Roman Polak. If they make a move for Roman Polak as opposed to moving for Keith Yandel, the Dallas Stars see this possibly going for Andrew Ladd, which brings in another player that they can actually. Yeah. I mean, what Ladd brings to you is if you're a team that has had trouble winning in the playoffs, Ladd has had experience winning in the playoffs, right? So you want to bring him in as a guy who can. I've also heard Chicago. I have Chicago on the list for that. I mean, that would be a return of sorts. That would be interesting.
I was going to say, is Jim Nill trying to get every ex-Blackhawk? He's trying to compete with Dale.
Well, no, he is because Jim Nill is one of those guys who does believe in that whole concept of you got a ring, it means something. Some GMs are more than that than others. I'm not as big on that as Jim Nill, but I will say that I've often said that Jim Nill's the best GM in the league. So that concept itself, I don't always know that a ring matters as much as saying, but
I think that Nill has to concentrate on getting. I mean, if he gets Pollock, he gets Pollock. But I think that they really have to concentrate on getting a defenseman because that's their area of most need. If they can get an Andrew Ladd and not give up a ton, then fine, great. But
for sure. Finally, Kadri. Also Montreal with Andrew Ladd too, which is another interesting one. Montreal, I think that's another one to watch for. Kadri with the Sharks, I've continually heard the Sharks have interest all year long with Kadri. That's the kind of player that I could see the Sharks adding.
And I'll put 2 and 2 together on this one because, I mean, first of all, Kadri is going into an RFA year, and this would go along with what Russ had said in the past about RFA for RFA deals. Thomas Hertl, I don't know who it was, but Russ, you brought him up. That would make a ton of sense for the Leafs. He's younger. He's an RFA. Maybe the Sharks don't want to pay him money, but in a year they're going to have a pretty big gap up the middle with Thornton becoming a UFA and with Marlowe, and maybe they think that Kadri would be the guy up the middle that would replace one of those guys.
Yeah. Yep, I agree.
Somebody who's not on the list that Jenna just reminded me about when she was looking out the window was Mark Streit, and
yeah, he's not on this list yet. You're right.
And so here's the funny thing about it. So after that Flyers Ranger game yesterday, we should talk about the Simmons McElrath fight because a lot of Ranger fans feel good that McElrath fought Simmons because of what Simmons did with the punch to McDonough. And look, the McDonough hit was high, and it was a little dirty too. But at the end of the day, they wanted retribution. They got their retribution. The reason I say the Flyers are out of it now is because after that fight and everything else that happened, it didn't help them at all in that game. Right. Like, they just flatlined it. And pre-game, Dave Hackstall was talking about getting activation and help from the blue line going forward for points. And Gostisbehere did it again, right? He's got 12-game mark.
Yeah, he's 12 games now.
He extended the rookie record.
Defenseman for defensive rookies.
I mean, Bobby Orr never even did that, right? So he's doing it. But my point is, Streit is starting to slow down, and so they have to trade him now because if they wait till next year, they will get no value for Mark Streit. And so, to me, he's got to be on that chart, and I think somebody would want him.
Well, he is. He was on the chart. I took him off. He was on the chart for a brief period. I took him off because I heard that they just weren't going to. They were having no luck moving him. I do agree. I think I mean, the one team that I heard constantly again is San Jose with him, and that would make some sense. Was he ever a San Jose Shark before? Why do I think he was? He wasn't.
No.
He wasn't. Yeah.
Islanders, Montreal.
Right. I'm thinking of Matthew Carl. So I'm gonna put him back on the chart. Definitely.
One thing that I think has to be tracked, and I'm sure all of us will in the next couple weeks, are the injuries that are piling up now that are going to affect what teams do. Marian Hossa goes down on the weekend. He's on IR. That's not like a season-ending injury, but it's significant, and it's not as significant as Patrick Kane's was last year. But that might convince Bowman to have to go out and add something. They're already going to look for a defenseman. Maybe they want now a winger.
Maybe that's how they get Andrew Ladd in.
Yeah, right. and I don't know if they can put him on LTIR depending on the length of the injury.
If they do, something's got to be thought about because that'll give them the same thing they had last year where they pick up Vermette,
right.
and then when they get to the playoffs, their salary cap doesn't matter.
But Tampa Bay loses Jason Garrison, valuable depth defenseman for them. Yeah. The LA Kings lose Marian Gaborik. Rick Nash is still out for the Rangers. I mean, there are a number of
without Rick Nash. That's the crazy part.
Yeah.
They're winning. Yeah.
I'm just saying, it's happening.
Not so crazy in my mind, but hey.
I know.
But yeah, I mean, I'm with you. 100%. All right, before we end, sorry I'm rushing. Like I said, I'm going to this tournament to go to and all that stuff. But a guy, and I lost the name, Bob. I can't remember your last name, Bob. I just had it a second ago, but I think my dog might have run off with it. Cause
you said it at the beginning of the show. So
I did. I had it. Anyway, check the beginning of the show. Sent me a new box of cards because he said we needed a new box of cards. I really appreciate this. This is this is awesome.
Give Bob a favor, trust me.
Bob from Red Deer, Alberta.
Thank you. It's factory sealed. Okay, so I am gonna break the seal right now. Sorry, I know that means other things. But
that means it's time for a bathroom break.
Break the seal. All right. I'm opening up a new set of cards. All right. Oh, and check this out. These cards are in packages. Holy cow. All right. So these cards are in packages. All right.
They're in packs, Zach.
That's better, right? Because there's possibly something interesting in here.
Unless they're really old packs and not good ones. It depends.
This is 1990 Pro Set.
It's not very good, but it's funny that it's in packs, so that's good.
All right, so I just opened up the pack.
So these were gathering dust in his basement, probably.
I know. All right, so let me find a good person.
His wife probably watched the show and said, "Send him these cards. Get rid of them."
Oh, okay, here we go. How about this guy? All right.
Pat
Harvard
Verbeek.
Whaler. Good.
Pat Verbeek.
Nailed it, man.
Yeah, I was just starting to see the nose, and I just saw Pat the
The
other day.
nose.
He's got a big nose. He can't hide it.
The number gave it away.
Yeah.
The great tradition of my cards being great players not on the team you'd ever associate them with. Here's another one. Who's that? This is a good one.
Number 9.
I don't think he's number 9. I think he was 19.
19.
He is still visible as on TSN occasionally as a commentator.
Ray Ferraro?
No.
It's not Aaron
Played
Ward.
for the Philadelphia Flyers. One of the more famous players. He's in the Flyers Hall of Fame.
Dave Poulin.
Dave Poulin.
Oh, Dave Poulin.
How about that? It's a good one. And last but not least, and we'll do more of these tomorrow when we open up another pack on X Great Hockey Cards. We need
another 50-cent pack.
Oh, no. Oh, wait a second. I've got 10 cents off my next purchase here with Pro Set. Awesome.
That's great.
All right.
That's when 10 cents was worth that 10 cents would now be worth $1.
I'm going to open one more because there's nobody else interesting in there. All right, so hold on. I'm going to find one here that Russ is going to be really jealous of. Hold on.
All right. It's really hard to do.
How about this NHL Series 1991-92 Pro Set trading cards? No? Why are these so unvaluable?
Because they made way too many.
Even if like a Gretzky or something's in
It
here?
doesn't matter, yeah.
It just doesn't matter.
My dog's looking at me like I'm nuts. All right. What's up, Panda?
My dog choose the inserts sometimes.
Hold on a second.
They get the blocker cards, the big fat ones. My dogs like to chew those.
All right. Here's Panda, by the way. Okay. This dog is amazing. Hey, Panda, say something to everybody. Panda? Hello. Hi. All right, this dog's incredible. She's the most awesome dog ever. All right, so let's find a card, Panda. What do you think?
They're all awesome.
All right. Oh, another announcer. How about this? This is too easy, though.
Kelly Rudy.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All
You
right.
can tell by the blue ties on the back of his hair.
Finally, one more card for you guys today. All right. This is a good one. I'll put that. Oh, another person who's still very much involved in hockey. We talked about the team he's involved in today.
Doug Wilson.
Oh, man.
That is good. He's got
You
the
are
same
good.
hair, right?
And another Kelly Rudy.
Wow.
Two Kelly Rudy's. Oh, and here, well, that's nothing.
Even Kelly Rudy's mom doesn't have those cards.
There are some good ones in here, though. All right, this goalie. I'm going to do an obscure one because I got to try to get you. This goalie.
You got to get Mike. You got me on all of them. The 90s is like my worst time for hockey. It just is.
It's like your dark period. All right, so here we go. His father was a famous player for this team too.
Ken Hodge Jr.
Very good. Wow, Mike's too good at this. All right, guys, we'll be back again tomorrow to do this.
That's a threat.
Yeah, and we'll have more cards. And if you want to send a card to me, just email me and I'll give you our address. Maybe you can send me something from, the 19.
Like this Stellaris rookie. Something more updated.
But if it's ticking, Eck is not going to open it.
That's right. Yeah. We don't.
Or maybe Antoine Bibeau.
There you go.
I like that. Remember, without the buzz, it is just hockey. Enjoy the games tonight, and we'll be back then. Check the website. I'm going to be updating the website all afternoon. I've got a lot of time on my hands between my tournament games, so I will be playing plenty of time. And if you're in the area and you want to come see some good indoor futsal being played at the Bucksmont Arena, we'll be there. Remember, without the buzz, is just hockey. Talk to you all soon. Thanks.